I am so excited.
Thomas the Tank Engine.
I am buzzing. I mean, it's one of those things that you grow up with and you don't actually think that you're going to not only get to go to a premiere with your kids, but to actually be in the movie. It's crazy.
Tell us more about that and the character Ace that you play.
So Ace is a really kind of carefree character, much like I am in real life, although he's a little bit clumsy, like me. He thinks he's funny. He's not, like me. He thinks he's cool. He's not, like me. It kind of represents me to a T. The thing is, even though it's an Aussie accent, it's a very heavy, like, "G'day, Thomas, how you going, mate?" It's that kind of accent. It's really cool. I'm loving it.
So it's a lovely opportunity for you to kind of explore other facets of yourself and this kind of extended personality.
It really is. It's almost like, and I get it why actors love so much acting, because you're kind of behind a mask. This is even more different because it's a voiceover. So you get to throw your arms around in the studio and go crazy because you want to get into that character. It's really cool.
Was it quite an interesting process for you? Because obviously this is something very different now for you, having to work with a director that, I know you've done videos and things like that, but, having to react against somebody's voice, the process is very different.
Yeah, it's very different. And also, we had a vocal coach, a voiceover coach that was in there who was actually an actress herself, and she's now the voice coach guru, and she really helped me because she would make me, approach things different way. If you saw something, you can't react how you would react. You've got to react how the character would react. It's very different.
It's a thought process.
It's a thought process, yeah. And it's good to use the old brain at 45, that's for sure.
And the story feels very much about diversity as well, and inclusivity. Is that something that you have picked up from this story as well?
Absolutely. I mean, it's multicultural. I'm so happy they're bringing in places he can go, like Africa, Brazil, Rio, Australia. Well, an Australian being part of it. It's like we're going around the world. It's fantastic. And it's great for kids to learn this sort of thing as well.
And it's a very contemporary story as well, isn't it? I think that new audiences that can come and enjoy this, can't they?
Yeah, absolutely. A new generation can enjoy this. And I think, again, this is a really good a good direction that they're going for children, because they need to learn about diversity, about cultures. It's brilliant for kids.
So, when you got the opportunity to be in a Thomas the Tank Engine film, you must have been stoked.
Absolutely. To get to play the role of Thomas, who is such an iconic character and he's so well known and so well loved, was, to be honest, it was slightly overwhelming at first, but it's such a privilege and an absolute joy, and it's an amazing team I get to work with, and I think this film, Big World, Big Adventures, is going to be great.
And with regards to your preparation, because he's so iconic, and how do you go back and watch the original material and try and get a flavour, or was this a case of you've been presented this script? It's it is a new story, it is a new adventure as far as Thomas and the animation is concerned. Did you have a clean slate? How did you balance that?
So when we approach a new movie, I think we start afresh with everything, and Thomas is always evolving. I think when a character's been around for nearly 75 years, it has to evolve, it has to change, and it has to keep current and modern, so the new generation want to watch it and want to enjoy it. And the animation in this film is simply stunning. I'm hoping that the voices are up to scratch as well. So we do approach it with fresh eyes, and hopefully it's going to be really special.
And the story is very much, it feels very diverse as well, so it's inclusive of all kind of nationalities. And I'm just thinking part of that story, that kind of the subtext really is about inclusivity and acceptance of other people. And yes, that's what I'm trying to say. Is that what you felt when you read the script?
So in this movie, Thomas gets to journey off of Sodor and for the first time gets to visit the whole world, which obviously leads to him going to exciting and exotic destinations. He encounters new cultures, new diverse cultures, and gets to meet new and interesting characters as well. And I think Thomas works best when he is a fish out of water, when he has wide open eyes and gets to see things and experience things for the first time. Plus, a lot of the young audience as well will be experiencing those things with him. for the first time. So of course that's promoting inclusivity, diversity in a really positive and exciting way.
And with regards to the process and all the people that you're meeting en route, it's a very different process normally for an actor providing a voice. But did you work with any of the actors, or was it literally you were acting against maybe the director who was giving you the direction?
Well, I'm fortunate in that we do our lines at different times, but we often get to hear each other. So we record a bit, then somebody else might record a bit, but then we get to work with the other person, not necessarily in the room, but we hear them at the same time. So we do get to interact with each other, but it's mainly the director's vision that has us all and keeps us all shipshape and on track.
And just the last question with regards to technique and how you prepare, because you're not necessarily expected to perform physically, does the voice acting change? Is there something that you need to do with your voice that's different to warm it up because of the kind of work that you are going to be putting on your voice?
To prepare for a recording session, I do some vocal warm-ups, and yes, it is different to performing a stage play, for example, because you need to warm up physically. However, having said that, I don't think that people necessarily understand that even performing vocally is physically really demanding, because especially with a character like Thomas, who is so animated and often so excited, and when you're trying to voice a sequence, for example, where he's doing a loop-the-loop over a rock arch, you can't do it by just standing there. There has to be a certain amount of physicality as well, but obviously not making a noise. So there's a huge amount of work that goes into that. But they're very kind, they're very sweet. They tend to start quite gently, and then throughout the course of the session, we'll end up with the crazy stuff towards the end. So yeah, it works pretty well.
Yvonne, you must be very excited today about being in Thomas the Tank Engine.
I am very excited, very pleased. Can't wait to see the whole film.
And tell us a little more about the film and the role that you're playing.
Yeah, so I play Nia. She's the first African railway engine, and she's from Kenya. So I get to represent, I'm Kenyan as well, so I'm really proud about that, and I get to represent Kenya. So I'm really grateful and excited about that. Yeah.
And, I mean, when you saw the script and everything, did you think that this is a film that actually brings very current themes like inclusivity, diversity, and acceptance of each other and being different?
Yeah, it does, and I think Thomas's work with the UN and the Royal African Society really helped make the experience more authentic, and also the journey with Nia and Thomas becoming really great friends, and Thomas realizing that, you know, we're much better off as a team and that two engines are much better than one. I think it's such a great story, and that he's going all around the world and meeting engines, different shapes, different sizes, different accents. I think that's really great.
Acceptance, isn't it, really? And when you're presented with the script, are you, as an actor, presented with the whole script, or do you just get the bits and pieces that you need for your scene?
I do get the whole script, so I do have a chance to read it before I go into the studio. But in the studio, I kind of have just what I'm doing and a few lines before and a few lines after, so that I know what's going on.
And is it difficult because so much of acting is reacting? So because you have no one to bounce off, how do you have to go into a kind of different kind of thought process?
Yeah, it is difficult when you have no one to bounce off, but sometimes my voice director will read the other line in for me and kind of help me out. But most of the time, because I know the storyline, I kind of know what sort of how to act it. And my voice director as well, Sharon, she's brilliant. She lets me know, okay, can we have it a bit more sullen here? She's a bit more happy here. So there's a lot of technical stuff to it, but
is there a lot of repetition as well? You know, doing the same lines just in case, you know, different kind of emotions that you can sort of express?
Yeah, there is a lot of repetition. When I first got into it, I thought we'd do a line and then do another line and then another line. But there's, like I said, a lot of technicality to it. It needs to sound like it's part of a script, because sometimes you just get the isolated line. So you need to give it emotion and who is she replying to? Why is she saying this? So it's a lot of hard work behind the scenes, but also very interesting and fun to do.
And do you get an image of who your character is, so you can help kind of, obviously not physically go into the role, but at least you've got a picture in your mind whether she's little or light, a big engine, so that helps then affect how the voice that you use.
Yeah, definitely it does. And also when I'm in the studio, I kind of like to, I believe a lot of character comes from the feet, so I do take my shoes off to just have a clean slate, because I feel like if I record in my shoes, I'll just be me. So a clean slate, I feel more like her, and I'm not afraid to just use body language and really just get into the character of Mia.